disingenuous. He stands as a beacon of truth. He is Abuki Cabal.
So much going on with this, and excuse me, I can't help but to talk about this. This was a tragic situation all the way around, but there's a lot of young ladies who want to characterize this as this lady being this hapless victim, as if this guy just came from out of nowhere and just punched her in the face. This couldn't have been avoided. And, if you watch the situation unfold, this reminded me of something that I'm going to share with you, that we've talked about over and over again, where people just, especially women now, feel like there's under no circumstances can a woman get herself in a situation where she will find herself being struck by a man. And this is where, Kevin Blake gets God rest his soul, and a number of other men, fathers, grandfathers, and whatnot, have told women time and time again that they should not be out here talking to men as if they are men. And we'll get there. Excuse me. Excuse me. So here you find a woman who is out here speaking to a man in a way that is very disrespectful. He tells her, not once, not twice, 3 times, get your food. Stop talking. I will knock you out. Not only that, if you look through some of the internet history, when people talked about this, there were people who knew this man, who lived by his word. He would clock a woman if she did not carry herself accordingly, and spoke to him as if she were a man. So obviously this man had problems dealing with women in a way in which he did not find himself in physical altercations. That being said, this young lady, older lady, however you want to characterize it, put herself in a situation where she continued to escalate the situation. Put her son in a situation where he could have been harmed, and he is probably going to need psychological counseling at this point. He has murdered a man. I don't care what the prosecutor said, because he shot a man in the back and continued to shoot a man as he ran away from him in the back. His mother encouraged him to shoot other people who laughed at her after she was struck in the face. Yet he declined in doing so, even though she tried to take the weapon from him. I mean, this is crazy. After reading this case and after watching a video, I don't know if I'm going to play, the video, or I'm just going to add, it in the description. I'm sure everyone's seen it, but looking at this young lady's face, I mean, does she look like someone who is the spokesperson for femininity, for softness and grace? No. She could have carried herself in a different way. She could have de-escalated this situation. She chose not to. Her son stood in the window. I mean, not in the window, stood in the doorway, which they have it in video. He concealed the weapon, waiting, lying in wait for an opportune time to basically strike this man from behind. I mean, if you're going to do it like that, then he should have come in behind the guy, pulled him by his locks, and beat the shit out of him. That's what I would have done. It would have been a one-on-one fight. You know what I'm saying? The man clearly did not have a weapon. He was using his fist. And I looked up the law in Illinois. Illinois is not a stand your ground state. And it states that basically if a man or two individuals are in a situation where they are a use of force is taking place, you are to use an equal amount of force to counter the force being used against you. So if it is a fist, you are to use a fist. If it is a knife, you can use a club. If it is a gun, use a gun. Okay? So I looked up that, and I went into a little back and forth with in a couple of Facebook groups that I was in, and tried to have some civil discourse with a few young ladies in there. A few of them that I loosely call friends, and I was taken aback by how vigorously the women came to the defense of this woman and trying to describe her as a victim, and how they were unable to bring themselves to see her part in escalating the situation and putting herself and her son in harm's way when this man told her to stand down. I'm ex-military. I've been trained in use of force and escalation, de-escalation, things of that nature. And even in my civilian life and being in the street, when things are going to get out of hand, how to carry yourself in certain situations. And just some of the hoop jumping that some of these women have gone through, and even some guys, making excuses for, this kid being involved in killing a man for his mother, shooting a man in the back for his mother, and the way this boy carried himself in killing this man and not not having any. I mean, for a 14-year-old boy, he did not have any of the body movements, the emotion that I would expect to see in a 14-year-old boy. And now, I'm a nurse, and I've also had dealings with psychological testing and things of that nature, and I know that how people should react when they are affected by things like this, and I didn't see any of that. Okay, this kid is unaffected by this, and to me, it looked like he's possibly done this before. He's comfortable with this, and has he is comfortable in the role of being his mother's attack dog. Okay, so I don't know if the father's involved in his mother's life. Looking at the way that she carries herself, she's not covered. She's uncovered. So I don't see her as a married woman or a woman who is under the coverage of a man. I don't know if that is the case or that isn't the case, but she does not look like she is comfortable in that environment. Her son moved in a way that is not indicative of a child who is not comfortable in a situation where he is being asked to draw blood. Okay. Not only did he fire on this man, he also continued to fire on this man, and they left the scene of the crime. So what they should have done was stayed there, called the police, and said, "Yeah, we were attacked, and we fired on the man, and we stayed here, and he got away." You know what I mean? But none of that took place. But without further ado, we're going to get into it, and we're going to analyze this a little bit, and I'm going to get into some of the excuses that some of these people gave. Everything from, I watched my mama get beat, and I would have killed him too, and all of these other things going into domestic situations and all of this, just all kinds of excuses for not being able to see any woman being harmed. And it's just the lack of ability to be objective about these situations is just, it's amazing. And then for the prosecutor to just say that, "Oh, we're just going to drop the charges and let this go," for a 14-year-old child to come in, shoot a man in the back, after this woman has basically escalated the situation. Then they release the facts of the case, which aren't pretty at all. But I'm going to just, sorry, I'm really perturbed by this whole thing. Let's get into it. Now, before we get to that, I'm going to play this little clip here, and this is going to kind of set the table here a little bit. Now, when is it okay for a woman to be slapped or struck? Okay.
Playing golf with men than women.
Years ago, you did an interview, which may come back to haunt you. You know what I'm going to say, right?
No.
Okay. You did an interview in which you said, not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist. It's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No, not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good. I
don't think it's bad,
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
Fair use. Fair use. Now he's going to get down to the reason and the rationale for this.
What would merit it?
Well, if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at this, they can't leave it alone.
Can't leave it alone. You can't leave well enough alone. I.e., if you don't stop, I'm going to knock you the fuck out. How many times have you ever heard this being said in several different settings? You know, I know I've heard it. Several settings. I've heard it from different people, white people, black people, all kinds of folks. But I know that our folks are legendary about not being able to let it go. Black women can't let it go. My wife can't let it go. We've talked about this very situation, and she's like, well, he should have controlled himself. He should have kept his hands to himself. Well, what about her controlling herself? What about the situation where, people tell you, even when you're in counseling, people tell you you can't control other people, but you can control yourself. That's one of the main things that people tell you when you're having psychological counseling. You can't control the environment, but you can control yourself. You can remove yourself from that toxic environment. You can remove yourself from whatever it is that's triggering you. You know what I mean? But she didn't do any of this. And it's funny how the rules change when it comes down to that. You know, so again, I'm discussing this, but it's never that way when it comes down to, women. So if you continue to badger, the Bible talks about this. The end result is never good. So why can't women just be quiet? I know this is going to be a toxic situation. I know that people are going to come for me, but I don't give a fuck. This has to be said. Sometimes you have to just be quiet. Listen, if, say, there are like a bunch of dudes in the jungle, say they're talking, say they run up on a tiger, they stop talking, the tiger don't hear them anymore, the tiger keeps walking. That's kind of like what you gotta do when you're in a situation. You can keep talking and get crunched on, you can get munched on, or you can keep talking just because you can. That's kind of like how it is. But see, for some reason, you gotta have the last word and the word after that and the word after that. Just because you can. And it always gets you in a place that either gets you in trouble or somebody else in trouble or somebody else in the ground. Now, there's another situation that just happened here recently where this young lady sent a group of men over to another man's house because he wouldn't do what she wanted him to do. And it went to trial, and one man was put in the ground. She almost got her brother murdered, and she almost got, well, not murdered, but killed. And the other men in the car killed because she sent them over there to shoot up the man's house. Y'all remember that? Where the NFL player was just, ex-NFL player was just exonerated. Same situation. Let's move on.
They don't want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again and get into a really provocative situation. Then I think it's absolutely right.
To give her a good slap.
Yeah, absolutely.
What if she gives you a good slap back?
Well, then you get into another area. I mean, then maybe she's getting to like it, and then it becomes something else. I don't know. But no, seriously, I think that.
See, and then you see here where Barbara Walters acts like, well, she doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, she absolutely knows what he's talking about. But see, she's been indoctrinated into this feminist point of view to where she's going to buck the system. She's going to act as if she's going to outman this man. Yeah. Like she's going to outslap this man. And that's what happened with this black woman. She was going to out shit talk this black dude. And, it didn't go well. Yeah. So we see this time and time again, and it never goes well. She never wins. So why do women continue to do this? When all they have to do is just stop what they're doing and go on about their business. Yeah. They just can't do it. Can't do it. This is historic. You just cannot let well enough alone.
It's the last resort. He's not going to do it because he wants to do it. Huh?
Wait till people see this interview. Are you going to get mail?
See? And she wants him to be destroyed by this. And we still see this same attitude going on today where you see women are trying to destroy men because of their attitudes about how women are. This is the truth. They don't want the truth to be told, but this is the truth. This is how these women are. And he told it back then, and she wanted him to get his mail and to be destroyed and to lose fans and all of this, but this is who they are. And when they get into these positions, like Barbara Walters was in this position, she was in that position to basically expose men as being horrible people for having to defend their position as men against these type of onslaughts against their manhood. And look where we are 30 years from that point. And we're in a worse position now. But let's move
on. Might get some female.
Okay, and he's right. There was some women that probably loved what he had to say, and I'm sure he did not. Let me stop this. So he did not probably miss a lot of other females that probably liked him at that point. So anyway, let's get on to the story here. So prosecutors dropped the charges. This is the latest against the Chicago mom and her 14-year-old son after a restaurant argument ended in a deadly shooting. Okay. All right. Chicago mom and her son are expected to be released from police custody after being charged in a fatal argument turned altercation. Tuesday, June 26, CBS Chicago revealed that prosecutors are dropping charges against Charlisa Hood, 35, and her 14-year-old son in a social media post the news station shared. The decision came after a further review of evidence in the case. A cell phone recording of a shooting incident involving Hood, her teenager, and a 32-year-old man was among the evidence. On June 18th, 3 individuals' lives were completely altered after the shooting at a local restaurant. The night Hood and her son pulled up in front of Maxwell Street Express around 11 p.m., USA Today revealed. Footage showed Hood exiting a blue Lincoln Nautilus and walking inside the fast food establishment while her son waited in the car. Okay? So, while her son walked inside, waited in the car, she went inside the restaurant, and shortly after getting inside the restaurant, she got into it with the gentleman inside the restaurant, and he basically told her, stop talking to me. Told her like 3 times, stop talking to me or I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. And somewhere in there, she told her son to come in and bring the gun, is what it said. But let's finish this article. Okay, so breaking news. Prosecutors have dropped all charges against Shalissa Hood and her 14-year-old son in the shooting death of 32-year-old Jeremy Brown, citing a further review of the evidence in the case. Cell phone video shows Brown punching Hood 3 times before the shooting. Okay, shortly after entering the restaurant, an argument broke out between Hood, 32-year-old Jeremy Brown. Court documents noted. During the confrontation, the 35-year-old reportedly text her teen. Prosecutors alleged Brown's girlfriend laughed and encouraged her boyfriend during his exchange with Hood. Moments later, okay, and this is a video on Fox 32 that shows them outside the restaurant where the teen was still shooting at the man as he was running away from him, still shooting him in the back. Okay, the mother tried to grab the weapon from him, and he snatched it away from her, and then they got into the vehicle and drove away. Okay, so it says moments later, the teen emerged from the vehicle and into the establishment. Audio from the footage revealed Brown yelling at Hood to get your food, and if you say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. When Hood continued talking, the video showed Brown violently punching her in the head more than once, court papers mentioned. The teen reportedly pulled out a gun and fired multiple shots at Brown. The 32-year-old sustained a gunshot wound to the back. Prosecutors shared that Brown ran from inside the restaurant as Hood's son continued to shoot at him. Law enforcement alleged Hood told her son to keep shooting Brown and to kill him. He was pronounced dead at the scene when the 14-year-old stopped shooting at the victim. Hood reportedly told him to fire at Brown's girlfriend and attempted to take the gun from him. NBC Chicago noted that he pushed her away and they left together in the blue car. Brown's girlfriend later identified both Hood and her son in photo arrays. On June 21, the 35-year-old and the 14-year-old turned themselves in to authorities. The outlet added that Hood possessed the proper requirements for a gun in the state. Despite that, she and her son were facing first-degree murder charges. The 14-year-old also faced counts of aggravated unlawful use of a weapon and unlawful possession of a firearm in juvenile court. Hood was previously held on a $3 million bail. Okay? All right. So down here in the comments, it says Foxx ordered the charges dropped and not a group of prosecutors. Okay? Another person says she has a permit, but the 14-year-old doesn't, and it's illegal for someone under 21 to be in possession of a firearm. So why are they walking and able to sue? Rightfully so. Now get the 14-year-old some serious counseling, okay? I'm with that too. But let me go over here, and this doesn't fall short on me. This is the same Kimberly M. Foxx who got on TV in the R. Kelly trial and said, if there's anybody out there who has ever been molested by R. Kelly, please come forward, which would indicate that you didn't have any evidence to hold him in the first place. So if you didn't have any evidence, why are you holding the man in the first place? So you shady in the first place. In that case, and in this case, you releasing the lady because you feel sorry for her because she got punched in the face. Because clearly her son shot a man in the back, and her son didn't have no business with a gun in the first place. And she didn't have any business telling her son to bring the gun in there so that she could shoot somebody that she was arguing with, when she could have just shut her mouth and left the establishment after she got her food. I just find that hard to get over. Don't you guys? I mean, there's just too much logic in the way of not killing this dude. So, we'll look at another article here. So here's an article in Slay here, which says mom ordered 14-year-old son to kill man at Chicago restaurant. And this is another picture of Charlisa Hood and out here in her bonnet and, you know, in her hood attire, tattoos on her chest, bonnet, you know, whole 9 yards. You know, you're in Chicago, one of the most violent cities in the Union, and you're arguing with some dude. And you expect me to believe that you don't, my wife said basically, maybe she didn't think that he was gonna hit her in Chicago. You really thought that he was not a man of his word? Okay. So here's some other, comments from Facebook here. Here's one where a person posted a picture of him holding two semi-automatic weapons. And there's a young lady who basically posted him a picture of him, and there's a young lady that says that she knows him, and he actually put the girl who posted him in the hospital before. Damn near almost disfigured her face. Okay, so here's people who supposedly know this man, allegedly. You know, here's another young lady who says, it did, but he was a kid. I lived in Chicago. It's so bad here. I pray the judge has mercy on the poor kid. That man beat a woman up in a bar 2 days earlier. Okay. So this other young lady in the group said that she figured that he was abusive the way he hit her. Honestly, had it been me and my mom, I would have done the same thing, except I would have stopped. I wouldn't have stopped. So you have a bunch of women on here saying that they would have just kept shooting you. Okay, so then you have another guy here. He's kind of ashamed to say he's my frat brother, but he says he was protecting his mama. The guy shouldn't have been putting his hands on a woman anyway. So again, here you have some men who are basically just moist as hell, who feel like there's just under no circumstances should you put your hands on a woman. You know, I've been in situations where women have fucking killed men in some of the most horrific ways. I couldn't even describe it to you. But these men didn't think those women were a threat because they were women. You know, sometimes you can be in a situation where a woman will walk right up to you and blow you completely the fuck up. And everybody with you. You know, or among other things. So, you just never know. There are women out here who set men up, you know, do all kinds of things. There are women who basically, there are videos of women out here who basically get out of the car while men walk up to the car and just lay bullets all into the man that's driving the car. Set the men up. Have them just killed in the worst ways you can imagine. But I guess those women shouldn't have anything done to them. You know? So let's move on down the commentary. Here's another one. There's very little protection to be had out here for a black woman. It is sad a child had to step in this way. Some of these people are just crazy, man. Okay, here's one. Couldn't see the entire video, but looked like self-defense is a viable defense in this argument. How is it self-defense when you come in and you shoot a man in the back? I'm just amazed. And these are all women. Okay. One video clip shows the kid just standing in the door watching his mama just working this dude up until it gets to the point to where the man hits him. But why didn't he say something before the man hit him? You know what I mean? Hey, I wouldn't have let a man talk to my mama like that, let alone strike my mama. You know? So, it's really hard to hear some of these people sit up and act and treat this woman like she's just a hapless victim. And if the dude runs out of the door, any fool knows. The police tell you that if something happens in your house, or whatever the case may be, and you shoot the person in your house, that's fine. But if the person is outside your house and you shoot them, you're screwed. If the person is running away from you, you shoot the person, you better grab them and pull them inside your house because you're out of line. You murdered that person. Okay? I mean, the law's pretty clear. Okay? So, and I just don't know how people feel about, the fact that a mother, this woman orders her underage son to shoot a person. Not only shoot him, but to make sure that you kill him. Okay, so here's a comment where it says she ordered her son to come in and shoot the guy before she was hit. Then the 14-year-old, as he was following orders, was justified when the chump dude hit his mom when he shot him in the back. The problem comes here when the mom kept ordering the son to shoot the man in the back when he left the restaurant, but then ordered the son to shoot the chump dude's girlfriend, which he didn't. The problem comes after the first shot, justified for the first shot, murder on the second, unless they can prove the punk was going for his gun. No, it's not. I don't think so. Okay. So, let me hear what I say. Let's get my comment here. Let me get it from all this fuck. Okay, so basically this woman did order to shoot the man in the back, and he continued to shoot the man in the back. The man never had a weapon that would have justified him shooting the man in the first place. So there was an unequal amount of force that was used. Sometimes just the display of the gun could stop the altercation with this man. He was far enough away where he could have said something to the man and stopped the man from even this even starting or escalating to that point. But the mama kept talking shit. Y'all got to just look at the video. The mom was continue to talk, which I blame her for. No man, if a man was standing there, he would have said, "Look, let me handle this. Stop talking, let me handle this." And it would have been handled. But no, she's going to stand there and talk to this man as if she's a man, as if she can physically handle this situation, which she cannot. So when are you going to know in your mind as a woman that you cannot handle this situation with a man on your own? When will logic kick in with these black women that you cannot handle a physical altercation with a man? And when are you going to know that you are in Chicago, and when a man says for you to cease and desist, that you going to know that he means what he means? Especially when they're killing like they're killing every weekend. You might just be the next one. When is that going to kick in? So I say, look, the mother was out of order. Anytime a person is shot in the back, he is not a threat to the other person holding the weapon. If the mom texts the son to bring the gun in to shoot someone while she continues to talk shit and escalate the situation, the situation is creating and is escalating the situation by which she's creating a situation by which her son can kill someone she doesn't like and that she is having a disagreement with. This is a prime example of how women use men and boys as their weapons to institute proxy violence against others, namely men or groups of women or groups of men, however you want to, put it, whatever the threat is against them. They know they can't beat physically. I realize it is tough for people to remain rational when they see a woman punched, but I am unbothered because these things happen and we must be able to judge these events objectively, logically, and without emotional clutter. This was premeditated murder, and it was probably not the first time this mother has sicked her son on others in a violent way. She tried to get her son to murder a woman for laughing at her. So then this young lady tells me, now they've reported that was a lie. So we still rolling with that? I'm still reading what the prosecutor said. That's what the prosecutor said. So I don't know where this was a lie, but this was reported by CBS, NBC. I don't know why that was a lie, where that was a lie. So this is what the woman is saying. So then she goes further and she says he was shot in the back because he was facing the mother, so he was a threat. Come on, I know you are smarter than this. Okay, you don't shoot a man in the back. Police can't shoot a man in the back. Nobody can shoot a man in the back and say he's a threat. I don't know why these people don't know that. Okay, so then I say in response, in most states, in order to use deadly force to stop a threat, you must reasonably believe that your life is somehow in immediate danger. Because of this, there are likely only a very few select circumstances where you be justified in shooting a person in the back as they fled the scene of their crime. And your ego is not one of them, no matter how badly they hurt your feelings. Or ego by robbing you. Once the threat is over, or whatever they did to you, there is no longer an imminent threat of death, serious bodily injury, or kidnapping or sexual abuse. Since there is no longer an imminent threat, deadly force in defense of your ego is not recommended, regardless of how you feel about the person. At this point, it's probably a better idea to pull your phone out instead of your gun and dial 911 to report the crime to the police, to start them on their job, to fill in on what happened, what the crime was, what he was wearing, if he had any weapons, etc. The argument can be made unless he had turned around and begun slinging bullets in your general direction that the threat to you was over, and that you should not have shot the person anymore at that point. Once the argument is made, it's not very hard to get to the next argument, which is that you just wanted to kill someone. Then your argument goes out the window when the court makes Facebook, Reddit, and others give them your records when you kept saying you would have killed someone, some other person in an unrelated incident because the world would be better off. It's very easy for a court to get your entire history on your preferred social media platform, and a certain amount of caution should be exercised to make sure you don't say anything that might jam you up later on down the road if you do ever need to use your concealed carry gun in defense of your life. Of course, we recommend that you always have a solid understanding of the local laws so you know them and can be well within your in what is considered to be legal in your area. With all the states and their jurisdictions, it is impossible for any one person to know all of the gun laws on the books. Knowing them beforehand can only help to keep you out of trouble later. To summarize, it's rarely ever a good idea to open fire on a fleeing criminal unless you still feel as though your life is being threatened. What you should do instead is dial the police to report the incident and give them as much information as you can regarding the criminal and what he did, and in a roundabout sort of way, what made another point, which is not to brag about wanting to kill somebody and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's what I said. So, in that short little piece, you see that you don't shoot a person in the back and you don't continue to shoot a person. And you stay at the scene of the crime and wait for the police to arrive. But see, Mommy and Sonny didn't call the police. They left the scene of the crime. So they never did what was right in the eyes of the law, ever. Yet all these poor black women on here who were feeling all great about this woman defending herself and, feeling all sorry for her being a victim. When she looks great to me, she's fine to me. Her and her son look great to me. They don't look like victims to me. Only victim I see is the dude that's in the fucking ground. He's dead. She got punched a little bit, but he's in the ground. And the son, he's a victim. Because he's going to need psychological counseling. Because he just killed somebody. You don't know how that's going to affect him for the next, 20 years? 30 years? You don't know. So then, we get another little response here. Well, no matter how we feel about what the law is or like it is, what the law is like in different states, the state they are in reviewed the video and witnesses' statements and cell phone footage and declared that it was justified under those circumstances. No, the one black female prosecutor felt like it was justified to let her go because she got hit in the face. Now, under any other circumstances, would this have been, thrown out because somebody shot a man in the back because they got hit? No, I don't think so. I bet you if we went back and we reviewed 100 cases in that same district that went this same way, I will bet you that they didn't go the same way. I guarantee you they didn't go the same way. So, I don't know. You guys let me know. The women got down on me pretty tough, and because they felt like I was supposed to be, a little softer on the women. I was too hard. I should be, I should feel bad because this lady got hit in the face because she kept talking to a man who told her to stop talking to him. And I don't. Anytime a man tells a woman that if she doesn't stand down, that he's gonna dig her out, she's been warned. He's giving you an opportunity to get out of that beating or whatever he's gonna do to you. So it's just like if a person tells me, you can take these slugs or you can walk away. I'm gonna walk away. You can ride with your ego or you can ride with living. It's a choice. You know, it might not be a tasty choice. You know, it might not, taste good going down, but it's the right one. So, things like this happen all the time. It's just showing how the interactions between black men and black women are degrading every day more and more. You know, this lack of femininity, this lack of masculinity, this lack of our ability to be able to respectfully interdiscourse with each other is coming to a head. And unfortunately, I don't know where it's going to end. You know, I don't know where this is gonna end up. It's really sad. And I don't know. I just don't know what we're going to end up with. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments, and we will chop it up in the comments and see what we can come up with. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later on the next one.